What's happening, Andy? Here I'm joined today by Anthony Ski and Sean Peterson. How are you guys? What's happening?
Great. How are you, Andy?
Doing
I'm awesome.
well.
Sean, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. Enjoying the sun down here in Arizona. I know it's a little chillier up north where some of you guys are at, but doing extremely well today.
Yeah, it's not really nice up here, but it's not our time of year, so we'll check back in on weather in a few months. Sean, you're with Quantum Leap. Anthony, everyone knows you're with Keypoint Intelligence, and you guys had some real interesting collaborations, a real interesting collaboration that you guys are working on together. And I thought, why don't we bring you guys on and talk about it for a little bit and find out what you're working on together. Sean, why don't you give a little bit of background on Quantum Leap, and then talk about maybe you could sort of introduce this program that you guys are working on together.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Quantum Business Solutions, we've been around for about 4 years now. I had spent about a decade inside of the industry, so I knew it extremely well. And I had just kind of recognized there was an opportunity for improved processes. And then technologically, I knew there was a gap. So, we're actually a top 1 or 2% HubSpot partner. We're the initial Zoom Info Solutions partner. So, Zoom Info actually feeds us several of their 35,000 customers and then connect and sell. And so we build integrated and automated sales and marketing machines. And obviously, coming from this industry, I've got a lot of clients in the space and I've got a lot of knowledge in the space. I was missing one key component to really turn HubSpot into the industry CRM, which was the quoting and the proposal building solution that actually Anthony had. And so this partnership is really Anthony's brainchild. He came to me about 6 months ago and said, "Hey, between what you know how to do and are building with AI inside of HubSpot with automation and segmentation and the ability to generate more revenue and leads for dealers, and what we've done with this quoting tool, why don't we put something together?" And so, to Anthony's credit, we put something together. Our teams work very closely. It's been a tremendous partnership. And the name of it is Q2, which I believe we announced down at ECS in Arizona here a few weeks ago. And so we couldn't be more excited. We're already seeing the fruits of our labor for each of our businesses, but also for clients. One quick case study, and we'll kind of kick it over to Anthony, is we had a dealer, they were coming out of a legacy CRM in the space, came onto HubSpot using Anthony's tool. Less than 90 days later, their entire team is inside of HubSpot. They've got sales and marketing alignment. They've got automation going, sales sequencing, calls being recorded, the whole 9 yards. I know that that's been a gap at times for some of the dealers. So that's what we're really trying to fix is the AI, the sales and marketing automation, and really putting these dealers in a position to leverage their customer bases and prospect in a better, more efficient, effective, modern way.
Very cool. Very cool. Anthony, what was it that you were trying to accomplish, and then what was it about Quantum that made you say these are the guys that we need to work with on this?
Yeah, I always look for what's the best experience for a dealer, right? And you go around and we've been very successful with the quoting tool and a lot of mega dealers, smaller dealers, mid-sized dealers have it. So that was a big thing. And for me, when I was a rep, whenever I used the CRM, I hated using them. It was a waste of my time. There was no value for me. All the dealer owners wanted was my information that I gathered in case I left. Let's be honest. That's basically what
No.
I use the CRM
No.
for. Yeah, I think that might be the case. But the reality for me is what's the value to an owner of a business, right? So Quote IQ was developed with a mega dealer, and the importance was to get reps out of Excel spreadsheets, gathering all of the information. It took them 3 hours for enterprise deals, and we got it down to 20 minutes. So it really gets them out of Excel and in front of customers. So I ran into Sean, and Sean just makes, HubSpot sing. He's just a genius with it, right? And the tool of sales and marketing, then I say that's the value. But then how can you take a sales and marketing tool and make it a complete system when you add in the pricing tool and use it as a CRM? There's many CRMs out there and the dealers have a choice, and all we're asking is take a look at us because I think we're a very viable option that gives the power of sales, marketing, and pricing all together. You put it on a uniformed proposal, sending out a uniform message to your clients. And then everything that Sean mentioned of what he can do with the sequences, just think of this, Andy. I'm a rep and I'm picking up the phone and I say something along the lines of managed services, and all of a sudden an email goes out, is generated automatically about managed services. So for the reps, all of a sudden, I don't mind doing the CRM because it's a lead generating platform.
Yeah, show me the
And
money.
then that lead
Yep.
generating goes in and can
As
create the
soon as they get
proposal.
some money off of a helpful email like that, as soon as they get, a deal to close with less work than they probably had to do before, in some ways, right? It's going to open everybody's eyes. And every dealer is kind of the same in this way. As soon as one person has some kind of success, every other rep starts looking over their cubicle, right, to
Yeah.
see what they did. How did you do that? What was the silver bullet you used? And everybody does that in those places. When somebody gets that big deal with tons of GP in it, everyone wants to know, how did you do it? And it might be luck, it might be, you were smart and you played things well. It could be both. But everybody wants to know. So back to that, it's when you show somebody having success with it, it makes everyone want to use it.
Yeah. And
Andy,
think
so I
for
got a
an
couple.
owner, I'm
Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
think for an owner, right? I get new leads, new logos, right? More revenue. And we all struggle with marketing, right? I'm very fortunate that we have a great marketing person in our organization and a marketing team. But most organizations struggle with marketing. And what Sean has developed with Quantum, right, is just an unbelievable sales and marketing tool, and teaches you how to do it, right? We'll set it up for you. It's not just here it is, good luck. So I'll let Sean talk,
Well,
but it's
what
very
I love
exciting.
about the approach that Sean's taking is that Sean ran a dealership, right? And to me, you know, here's a guy who was able to sit back objectively and look at all the tools in front of him and all the things he wished he could do, right? And he sells the dealership, he leaves the dealership, behind him, and he goes out and he creates this package based on, what he needed when he was running this place. And so I think there's a lot of common, issues that dealers have that, one dealer to the next has got a lot of things that are, problematic for them. Hiring is one of them. But to have somebody who understands how a dealership really works, because sales companies are not all the same. A car dealership is not the same as a copier dealership. It's not the same as some other retail sales organization. Everybody's got unique things that they need to make them run. And we built this program that leverages your experience and the fact that you grew up in that area, and here were all the problems I had, and these are the things I've done to fix it. So let's get into that a little bit. Maybe talk about some of the things that you put into this, and problems that you solved from your old job.
Yeah, so because I want to give really specific examples so the viewers can actually tie me down, hold me accountable, ask legitimate questions. So I'm going to give some examples. We've got a dealer in California that's been leveraging an auto dialer, and they've been calling out a HubSpot. We were able to go back retroactively because all those call notes were coming in through AI and basically the call notes and then tracked terms. We were able to dig out 25 competitive opportunities that they had missed, where maybe a year ago some rep that no longer works there had put in the notes of the call, lease expires in October 2024. We're able to go look at that with keywords, basically OCRing for any of you that have document management that are going to watch this. Pull that up, and now they have an active list of all the calls that have those words. That's from the notes. On the track terms piece, if there's something your rep is supposed to always be asking, like, well, who are you currently working with? You can actually have, or let's say the word contract or expiration, you can actually have views on exactly every call where the rep did or didn't ask that, or a prospect did or didn't say something like that.
You
So
can
that's,
coach them.
well, ironically, I'm glad you brought that up. You can not only coach them, you can create coaching playlists inside a HubSpot where the rep can go put something to a coaching playlist. So now the next time I'm meeting with my rep, we pull up the coaching playlist. and we actually go through the calls together. What we found, because we work with several dealers on what we call sales blitzing, where they actually leverage auto dialers and they call, is just because they have a script, which by the way, most of the time they don't, but just because they have a script doesn't mean they're following it. So we actually have Quantum Academy with a few hundred videos in there on call scripting, how to build the best lists, the revenue efficiency model, which is the best way to keep or to grow your dealership is to keep your customers, right? That's number one. The second is to grow. That's cross-sell, upsell, resell. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. The third is referrals, multiply. So referrals, and then here's a key one. If I've got 10,000 customers, they each had 2 decision makers. One of those decision makers leaves and goes to another organization. I want to have a systematic approach to tracking that, which with like an integration with ZoomInfo I could do. So now I can try to go sell them at that other company because they're already familiar with ABC office equipment, right?
Yeah.
The fourth, where a lot of deals go to die, is convert. So for instance, we keep track of every contact associated with the deal that hasn't been touched in 90 days. Why is it important? One of the biggest problems in a dealership is they pay these reps to go out, create some opportunity. Maybe the rep leaves, maybe not, but deals stall out, right? Because they're not hitting the right person, right time, right message. So you want to have things like who are all the former customers, the stalled deals, lost deals, the marketing qualified leads, sales qualified leads. But that's just too overwhelming in most CRMs. Well, what we've done is we put it into lists. We've built reports, and then you can have a one-on-one report with your reps. So now I'm a leader sitting down with my rep, Anthony, and I'm able to say, hey, Anthony, not only did you do this many activities last week, but did you know out of your 212 customers that you currently service for our organization, you've missed the quarterly review on 119 of those? Did you know out of the 212 customers that you represent and take care of for our organization, you've only had a specialist in 19 of them? Out of those 212, 43 of them have between 20 and 100 employees, would be a perfect fit to cross-sell managed IT. And now as an organization, Andy, you can actually take control of this customer relationship in a way you never could before, because most of these dealers know, hey, if I got 1,000 customers, I should be able to cross-sell 200 or 300 of them my managed services. Well, if I go talk to those dealers, usually they're about 9 customers or 12 customers. So it's costing the dealers, the owners, right, a lot of money not to have better systems and processes in place. So then the next piece will come, and this is like right here, these are actionable takeaways. So it's about gathering data. So let's say I have those 1,000 customers. One of the common things is I don't know which ones actually outsource some IT to somebody else and that sort of stuff. Well, with HubSpot, you build a form. So all your QBRs, your quarterly business reviews, are done on a form. As soon as I hit submit, not only does it let everyone know you did it, but it actually updates all of those properties at the same time. Now it could kick off marketing from the segmentation standpoint. It also is going to update from a sales standpoint. So who has ABC company? So when they go get acquired by a mega dealer, I can go over there and actually attack that base of customers, right? Then you get into the net new, and then I'll let Anthony go here, but then you get into the net new, which is, say you've got ZoomInfo integrated. We've got it set up where intent will just flow right into HubSpot. It kicks into a workflow and it starts marketing. Now you just booked a meeting. No one's ever even touched it. But here's one of the problems we were facing, right? So we're trying to integrate with these other CRMs because that's where they were doing proposals and stuff. When the rubber meets the road, so I've done all this prospecting, all this great stuff. What is it that I'm actually truly going to put in front of this client? And that's where Anthony came into play, because we were finding a lot of dealers were using like old Word documents. Every rep in the business was doing it a different way. They were missing configurations. The pricing wasn't always right. There was no, I'll let Anthony go into these
No
pieces.
consistency.
There was no controls on the whole process, right?
Yeah.
So not only were we slow and inefficient on our actual prospecting and cross-selling, but then we actually put something in front of the client, it fell flat. And that's why we teamed up with these guys, right, Anthony?
Yeah. Hey, listen, to me, I just love Sean's passion, right? He's into it. He knows this stuff better than anyone. It was a natural fit in my eyes. Hopefully the dealers feel the same way. And just, Andy, the cool thing is we did a webinar 2 weeks ago with 2 dealers who have our Q2 solution. We had 100 people sign up for CRM
Well, because you know
information.
what? The CRMs have been out there since I was selling, like Act 2. You guys remember that, right?
Yeah,
And,
sure.
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was only as good as the information that you put into it, and we've talked about it before. No rep ever wanted to put anything in there because they were afraid that, this was just a security blanket for the dealer. Well, what I love about it, and what a lot of reps are probably going to hate, is the ability to go back and listen to that whole call and know immediately if that rep is doing their job, right? You can put a kid in the new territory for 3 months, and then you find out they leave and they didn't call anybody, or you think they were
Mhm.
calling someone. Well, now you can go back and look. You can see immediately, what are they doing? Are they good? Are they going to make it? And maybe it cut your losses a little sooner instead of letting them sit there for 6 months and suck you dry before they leave. Maybe you get rid of them after a month because you find out they're not doing any work, right? Because you're going to be able to check these logs. What's the rollout plan? How are you guys going to package this and bring this to dealers? Is it going to come from Anthony's group, from Sean's group, both of your groups? How are you guys going to attack that? Why don't you
So
start, Anthony?
go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, so I think for us, it's a collaborative effort, right? So we'll be on the phone together with the dealer. Sean will do the whole HubSpot part. I'll talk about all of the integration part with the pricing, how it all melds together, because it's not that complicated, but it's also there's workflow that you have to make sure that you get right. And I think between both of our companies, getting that piece of it is really important. So we'll be on the calls together, going through it, working with the dealers, and I think answering a lot of questions that dealers have. Can it do this? And the one last thing I'll say to you, Andy, is what's interesting, a lot of the solutions today in our industry, you have to fit your organization into the solution. You heard the flexibility of what HubSpot has. We have the flexibility on the quoting tool. And all of a sudden, the nuances of every individual dealer, because I haven't met a dealer that does anything the same. It's an over exaggeration, but everybody runs their dealership a little differently. You can have that flexibility. And I think people, dealers, mainly owners, enjoy that flexibility.
Sean.
Yeah, I think what was exciting to me is so we didn't mean to get into this business. I'm just going to make that clear, right? Because we have to partner still with the other legacy ones because sometimes that's who the dealer currently has. Our struggle was at times there was pretty weak integrations, if any, and it became very frustrating for the dealer to have the whole machine working together. Well, what we did is we said, okay, here's all the things that are needed, put it into AI. So when you talk about a rollout, our speed versus the others is much greater because now in about 60 seconds, we're putting in hundreds of hours of development, HubSpot development. It's probably 100 grand of development going in 60 seconds. And then from there, it's customizing to that dealer. And then Anthony's team is working on their component versus in some cases at ECS, I had a dealer come up and say, hey, we've been waiting for a year and a half on this small thing and we can't get an answer. And it's nothing against anybody else. It's just the dealers are hungry for a modern solution. And I think we're in a space where some of the softwares have been able to hold the dealers hostage a little bit because where are they going to go? This is the industry specific. I won't say any names, of course, but we came with something flexible. And then the beauty is not only are we doing development, but HubSpot daily has new betas coming out, right? New AI, new prospecting workspace. We now all of the imagine here's an old world example. So I'd be emailing over here as a marketer, and sales is doing this over here. It was never talking, right? As an example, when we go to install a copier, you do a network installation form. That's the perfect time to ask somebody if they're outsourcing either their IT. But even if we did, it was in a filing cabinet or a document management software not attached back to sales and marketing. We wanted something that brings it all together so that client life cycle is happening inside a HubSpot. And then later, sometimes there's data that you're not thinking about today that a year from now, you're like, wait a second. If we would have been asking that question and had it going into structured data, like on the network installation form, do you outsource your IT, grabbing some of those pieces and having it automatically update? Our marketing team could have been marketing. And if somebody opened that marketing email, our sales team could have taken action. So I digress, but that's the type of stuff we're thinking about.
Well, that's, I mean, to me, that's the difference. And back to what we were saying earlier with having somebody who grew up in the industry developing that product. Everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of dealers use HubSpot already, right? It's
Mhm.
out there, it's readily available, it's a cross-platform solution. It works in every industry, everybody uses it everywhere. But, you know, the difference is trying to bring it in, set it up, and customize it around your your program and what you're trying to do when here's a package, guys, and it's already built. And all those things that you just said in that last example about sales talking to marketing, and you know, obviously these are not things that are unique to our industry, but you got way more specific in that description about going back and forth within a dealership and the different parts that are in play there. And to be able to just instantly pull that together where you just sign up a dealer and it's just probably more a matter of training them than the program's there already. It's just turning things on, I would imagine. So, um,
Yeah.
exciting program for you guys. We're coming up on the end of it. Why don't we go back to each of you one more time, one kind of wrap up thing. Tell me one thing you're excited about bringing this out, and then we'll follow up down the road on this. Anthony, why don't you lead off with that?
Yeah, Sean mentioned $100,000. It doesn't cost $100,000 to install it. I just want everybody to know that because people just hear that word and automatically think of
I
that.
didn't hear that at all, but
Yeah, so I just want that but all kidding aside, right? I'm just excited because I think it's what the industry needs, right? I grew up in a dealership, right? Before I went to my manufacturer's tours,
yeah,
right? I was a copier sales guy. I know the frustration in the dealer community. I see it from a rep's perspective, as importantly or more importantly, as an owner's perspective, right? I'm spending all of this money on all of these programs I have in my organization to get lead generation, to get marketing, to get new customers, to do all of this. This program does that for you. It will be installed, you'll be trained, you'll know how to do it, right? And you can start from marketing to a lead to a close and right through it with our pricing tool. So I'm very excited. I think it's something innovative and new for our industry, and it's long overdue.
awesome, awesome. Sean, how about you?
I
Take us
was
home.
thinking, I spent about 6 years as a VP of sales in this space, had 30 plus reps, a year and a half, 2 years as a CEO in the space. And I saw the gaps in the holes a long time ago. And that's what we came to try to take care of and fill. And I think not only is this the best solution today, but as we continue to develop and as HubSpot and Anthony's team continue to develop, it's going to be a runaway within 12 to 24 months. And the people that get left behind when it comes to AI and automation, you don't get to make that up, right? Like the guy that spends from today until January 1st of next year working on these processes and building this automation, then that automation is always working for him. Some guy starts 2 years from now, he can't catch that guy, right? Because that guy's constantly innovating and already has it working for him. So now is the time, whether you do it with us or not, if you're not getting into a modern platform, you're going to hold your organization back over the next several years. So again, whether it's with us or not, you need to get into a modern platform. You need to be leveraging the tools effectively and make sure you're taking advantage of everything in the market to go out and grow your business.
Well, I love this collaboration. Just hearing about how you can, go back through a rep's conversations probably pretty quickly through keywords and just uncover, a whole bunch of potential leads that rep who isn't with you anymore, and maybe they weren't a very good rep. Maybe it's money on the table, and that's just one rep. You go back through all of your new people, right? The ones that make it, the ones that don't make it, those early geo reps that are banging on doors. Man, that's a lot of information you get to go through as a sales manager, as an executive, and find out, is this person coachable? Are there deals that the last person left that we need to go follow up on? There's just so much benefit to it, and these notes are amazing. And then to me, just being able to identify a rep who's just going to waste your time and rip your heart out for 6 months instead of right instead of doing their job. And we every dealer's got this person that they cut and they probably go to the next dealer and the next dealer and the next dealer, and they just suck the life out of these guys until they turn to another industry. But there's a lot of that in this world. There's a lot of really bad salespeople who are just in it to kind of, waste your time, get the minimum amount of work done until you finally get sick of them and move on. This is a great way to make sure that your people are doing their jobs. And I have to think that if someone's doing their job, they're not going to care that you're listening in, or not necessarily listening, but coaching and helping them, get more business. And especially when you come back to them and say, here's 3 leads we uncovered that you may have forgotten about from 6 months ago, right? You haven't mentioned it in your 30, 60, 90-day forecast. And so here you go. And just, I think this is a great tool. It's a nice collaboration. I'm excited for you guys, and thanks so much for coming on and sharing this. I look forward to talking about this. Maybe 6 months we can do an update and see how it's going.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right,
Yeah,
guys. Well,
sounds
thank you
great.
so
Thanks as
much.
always, Andy. Appreciate it, man.
Take care. Have a good one.